Hello and welcome to Firstpost Spotlight, where we bring you stories that matter to you from all across the world. From breaking news to the day's biggest controversies, we shed light on issues that shape our world. I'm Alison LaGrange, live from Durban, South Africa. Let's begin with the top headlines. US President Donald Trump meets Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman in Riyadh with a focus on mega economic deals. Trump will also visit the UAE and Qatar. Hamas rejects Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's claim that military pressure had helped secure the release of US-Israeli hostage in Gaza a day earlier. China cautiously welcomes a 90-day pause in the tariff war with the US, but tensions remain high, with President Xi Jinping again accusing Washington of bullying. Ethiopia bans foreigners traveling to its restive northern region of Tigray as tensions rise between Addis Ababa and regional authorities. Tigray still suffers from the aftermath of a brutal 2-year conflict. And Japan's Nissan posts an annual net loss of $4.5 billion while saying it plans to cut 15% of its global workforce and warning about the possible impact of US tariffs. Hello and welcome. We begin with the latest from the Indian subcontinent, where in yet another show of India's war readiness against Pakistan-sponsored terrorism, Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited a frontline Indian Air Force base not far from the border with Pakistan at Punjab's Adampur Air Station, a key base during India's retaliatory strikes under Operation Sindoor. Prime Minister Modi interacted with the Air Force personnel. With the S-400 missile defense system and a MiG-29 fighter jet in the background, Prime Minister Modi hailed the Indian Armed Forces for the successful execution of Operation Sindoor, during which India eliminated at least 100 terrorists in Pakistan and Pakistan-Occupied Kashmir. Now, Prime Minister Modi repeated India's 3-point doctrine against terror. The Indian leader added that the world is now coming to terms with India's fresh outlook against terrorism.
पहला भारत पर आतंकी हमला हुआ, हम अपने तरीके से, अपनी शर्तों पर, अपने समय पर जवाब देंगे। दूसरा, कोई भी न्यूक्लियर ब्लैकमेल भारत नहीं सहेगा। तीसरा, हम आतंक की सरपरस्त सरकार और आतंक के आकाओं को अलग अलग नहीं देखेंगे। दुनिया भी भारत के इस नए रूप को, इस नई व्यवस्था को समझते हुए ही आगे बढ़ रही है।
The visit came hours after Prime Minister Modi declared Operation Sindoor as India's standing policy against terror. In a warning to Pakistan, Prime Minister Modi said India's military response had only been paused, not called off. Islamabad's next moves will decide what comes next.
फिर दोहरा रहा हूं, हमने पाकिस्तान के आतंकी और सैन्य ठिकानों पर अपनी जवाबी कार्रवाई को अभी सिर्फ स्थगित किया है। आने वाले दिनों में हम पाकिस्तान के हर कदम को इस कसौटी पर मापेंगे कि वो क्या रवैया अपनाता है।
As the Prime Minister doubles down on zero tolerance for Pakistan-sponsored terror, India's war on terror pushes ahead in Jammu and Kashmir. Earlier today, security forces in Jammu and Kashmir launched a massive cordon and search operation after receiving inputs about the presence of some terrorists. A gunfight ensued in the forests of southern Kashmir, in which 3 terrorists of the banned Lashkar-e-Taiba were killed. Elsewhere in Jammu and Kashmir, posters were seen announcing a reward of 2 million rupees, or over $23,000, for information on terrorists who massacred 26 tourists in Pahalgam last month. In the backdrop of successful Operation Sindoor, from the skies over Punjab to the forests of Jammu and Kashmir, India's message to Pakistan is unmistakable. Terror will be met with tactical fury, not diplomatic notes. Operation Sindoor may have paused, but India's trigger isn't resting. The next move? Now that depends on Islamabad. Moving on, India has time and again exposed Pakistan's strategy of harboring and sheltering global terror masterminds. This time, Pakistan is under scrutiny for providing a safe haven. Pakistan is under scrutiny for openly sheltering Hafiz Abdur Rauf. Now, to Hafiz Abdur Rauf, a US-designated global terrorist, Rauf was seen leading the funeral procession of terrorists killed in Indian missile strikes last week. Joining him in the funeral were 2 prominent people, a serving Lieutenant General of the Pakistani Army and the Inspector General of the Punjab Police. Indian Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri had flagged the image as a stark example of Pakistan's naked collusion with anti-India terror. Now Islamabad is trying to cover it up. The Pakistani military claims that Rauf is just a family man, an ordinary cleric with 2 daughters, a peaceful religious scholar, they say, with no links to terror. But facts speak louder. On your screen right now is a document of the US Treasury Department. It lists Hafiz Abdur Rauf as a specially designated global terrorist. According to the US Treasury Department, Rauf remains a member of Lashkar-e-Taiba's senior leadership since at least 1999. He currently heads Lashkar's front organization, the Falah-e-Insaniyat, or the FIH, which poses as a charity while funding violent jihad through religious donations. Rauf spearheaded multiple fundraisers for the FIH, particularly after the 26/11 Mumbai attacks. But Pakistan doesn't just shelter him. Its military-political complex also tried to elevate this global terrorist as a potential lawmaker to parliament. Rauf contested last year's general election from a Lahore National Assembly seat on a ticket from the PMML, a party set up by another global terrorist, Hafiz Syed. Now, he managed just over 2,000 votes, but his candidacy was unconcealed and unchallenged. Experts say that Rauf's public presence shreds the integrity of US counter-terror sanctions. While Pakistan maintains it has no links to anti-India terror groups, such brazen displays and the military's defense of them strip bare Pakistan's claims. They don't just expose a double game. They point to an undeniable symbiosis between the Pakistani deep state and global terror networks. And now let's shift our focus to the world of trade. India has proposed to impose retaliatory duties on the United States under the norms of the World Trade Organization, the WTO. On Monday, New Delhi proposed retaliatory duties on certain US-made products shipped to India. This was a response to Washington's tariffs on Indian steel and aluminium products. India has also reportedly informed the WTO that it plans to suspend trade concessions equivalent to the duties collected by the US. But what does this mean? Now, as per its notification to the WTO, India says the US tariffs could impact $7.6 billion worth of Indian exports. Through those tariffs, the US will collect close to $2 billion. New Delhi says it wants to charge an equivalent amount of duties on US-made products. It plans to do this by suspending trade concessions for the US. But how did this start? New Delhi had earlier requested consultations on the tariffs in April of this year. The 25% tariffs on all steel and aluminium imports to the US took effect from the 12th of March. In response, Washington told the WTO that its tariff decision was based on national security grounds. India says that Washington's actions were to safeguard its domestic industries from an unexpected surge in imports. But this isn't the first time the US has slapped tariffs on metals. Back in 2018, the US imposed similar tariffs on steel and aluminium, also citing national security. In retaliation, in June of 2019, India slapped duties on 28 US products, including almonds and walnuts. However, this current proposal by New Delhi holds particular significance. It comes at a time when India and the US are currently negotiating a bilateral trade agreement after Trump's Liberation Day tariffs. A delegation from New Delhi is also visiting Washington this week for trade talks. Besides, the move also comes at a time when President Trump, who has taken credit for a ceasefire between India and Pakistan, has expressed interest in deepening trade ties with New Delhi. For now, India has clarified that it reserves the right to withdraw, modify, supplement or replace this notification if needed. But will this emerge as a central issue in the ongoing trade negotiations? We'll continue to bring you the latest updates. And for our last story, let's turn our attentions to the Philippines, where the midterm elections have concluded and the counting of votes is underway. The majority of the votes counted, the Senate race, which is a crucial battleground, shows President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr.'s allies securing fewer seats than anticipated. Marcos's camp is projected to win only 6 seats out of the 12 Senate seats up for grabs. Even though the country's Vice President, Sara Duterte, is not contesting polls, the results of the Senate elections are bound to significantly impact her position and also her ambitions to contest the 2028 presidential elections. Sara Duterte is currently facing an impeachment trial. The Senate's composition will significantly impact her trial, which she alleges is a political persecution. As the final results of the midterm elections are awaited, Sara Duterte's political future remains uncertain. Meanwhile, Sara Duterte's father and jailed former President Rodrigo Duterte is projected to win the mayoral seat of Davao City by a landslide. This comes despite his detention in The Hague over allegations related to his controversial drug war. Duterte previously held the seat for over 20 years, vacating it only in 2016 when he became president of the Philippines. The Dutertes have further solidified their power base in Davao City. Rodrigo Duterte's youngest son, Sebastian, is projected to be elected vice mayor, and another son, Paulo, is projected to be re-elected as a congressman. Several grandchildren are also projected to secure local posts, demonstrating the family's enduring influence in the region. This year's midterm polls have been crucial for the Duterte family because this year's elections had challenged their grip on the city while their patriarch is detained overseas. Now, along with other Duterte loyalists who made significant gains in the Senate, Marcos Jr.'s older sister, Aini, who recently aligned with the Dutertes, is also projected to win a Senate seat. The midterm election, marked by long queues and sweltering temperatures, also saw reports of isolated violence and technical glitches with voting machines. As is typical in Philippine elections, celebrity-style campaigns and rallies played a significant role, often overshadowing the crucial policy debates on issues like corruption, the high cost of living, and infrastructure. The projected results of these midterm elections have set the stage for a dramatic political showdown. With the balance of power shifting and the future of key political figures hanging in the balance, the results of the Philippines' 2025 midterm elections are set to shake the country's political landscape. And that's all we have on the show for today. We will see you again tomorrow at the same time. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned to Firstpost.
From breaking news to the day's biggest controversies, shedding light on the world's top headlines, detailed analysis on the stories that matter the most to you. Catch it all on Spotlight at 6 p.m. India time and